Shalom, people. I am the American Israelite, Brother D.I.K., and today I want to show you some off-the-wall cops, some cops out of control, and how to deal with them fuckbags. Now, here in Jersey, we don't really have that problem. Not in my city. Cops know how to act. And if we gonna get any shit, depending on who you are, like you're gonna get shit from your own people. So, yo soy Boricua. So if I get pulled over by a Boricua or a black man, he gonna break my balls. The same for black people. If we get pulled over by Boricuas or black people, they're gonna break our balls. The white man, for the most part, he know how to act. He's professional here in Jersey. I mean, all over the state. Now, that doesn't mean we don't got no bad apples, but we do. The worst cop in Jersey, in Newark particularly, is the bitch cop, the female cop. She's too manly. And she thinks she could talk to a man any old kind of fucking way because, you know, she got a badge or she got a pussy or whatever the fuck her problem is. But for the most part, we go here in Jersey. What I'm going to show you is some off-the-wall cops that really don't know how to act. So with that said, I'm going to get right to it. I'm going to start with these cops here that violated the rights of this particular dude. Check it out.
I got a crime scene, sir. I'm a detective. Yeah, and I'm here helping him, so step
Check him out.
off. Okay? If you're a good detective, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. You'd be taking care of your job. You. Hands on me. Really, the paint compliance, that's what we need to do?
Retired firefighter Joseph Garces was driving his Jeep in Santa Paula, California, when he saw shooting victim Samir Salgado lying face up in a parking lot in a pool of liquid. Mr. Garces pulled over next to the man, and when he realized the liquid was blood, he got out of his vehicle and began to administer CPR. Shortly thereafter, several officers with the Santa Paula Police Department arrived on the scene.
Don't go to the car. Don't go to that car. Stay over here. Stay over here. Stay over here. Come over here. That's your car?
That's my car. I was driving by. I saw it. I'm a retired firefighter.
Okay.
I'm not a part of this.
We don't know anything about that. We see a gun in the car. You're not going there. Do you have your ID?
It's in the car.
What's your name?
Joe Garces.
Garces, you gotta relax, okay? We know you're helping us out.
Wait, but you guys aren't listening either. That's part of the problem. Yeah.
As I said, we appreciate your being involved. Okay. We're just running.
That's his knife. I took it out of his pocket to cut his shirt off.
And that's your vehicle.
Yeah, I was driving north. I saw the lady. They were looking this way, and I saw him down, and I thought it was beer or something. Spun around and came in, saw the blood. She said they were calling 911. I screamed, has he been shot? She said, yeah, as I was pulling in.
Okay.
Saw the gunshot wound to the side of his face. I did a quick check. Found the gun in his waistband, rendered it useless, stuck it inside my car. Grabbed his knife, cut off his shirt, and then you guys started showing up.
Okay. Did you see anybody running, anybody leaving the area, anything?
Not a thing. Not a thing.
He's a witness.
What the?
Relax.
We appreciate it.
Huh? I got a crime scene, sir. I'm a detective. Yeah, and I'm here helping him, so step the off. Okay? If you're a good detective, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. You'd be taking care of your job. You. I can't get the out of here. Get out of my car. Get out of my car seat. What are you going to do to me? Get out of my car seat. I'm going to make you next time. Get out of my car seat.
Come with me, Mr. Garces. Mr. Garces. Come with me, Mr. Garces.
Detective Chris Rivera arrives and
Remember that name, Chris Rivera. Real piece of shit. A real piece of shit. Like I said, we don't really have that problem here except out of women cops. Most cops in Jersey, particularly in Newark, Irvington. I don't know. I don't know how they treat everybody else. I know that I've never seen an encounter where police just get belligerent with your ass. Now, does it happen? Sure, but not like this prick. And if it does, I'm sorry. I'll be the first to denounce any cop behaving that way. Shout outs to law enforcement. Newark PD, you heard? I got a love-hate relationship with cops, but let's go.
Orders Mr. Garces to get out of his crime scene, and the other officers lead Mr. Garces outside the perimeter of the scene. Here, because Mr. Garces was a witness who was being interviewed, it seems more appropriate under the DOJ's guidelines that he would be secured and separated without necessarily being removed from the scene like a bystander would be.
No wonder people give you guys the benefit of the doubt. And I work with you, 27 years. When do I get my car back then? Hey, tell them. Thank you for teaching me not to be helpful, you fat piece.
You have to step back. Step back. Step back. Step back. Step back. Step back. I don't know who you are.
So now you come over with me, huh? You're doing a really good job right now, aren't you? You need to calm him. I need you to back up. No,
I got it. Come here.
No, you need to hands up. Really, the pain compliance, that's what we need to do. They don't like me.
What's his name?
After Mr. Garces shouts at Detective Rivera from outside the parking lot, Detective Rivera leaves the scene, approaches Mr. Garces, and puts his hand on his shoulder. Mr. Garces pulls his arm away and uses a profanity to tell Detective Rivera to keep his hands off him. In response, Officer Rivera immediately grabs Mr. Garces' right arm, wrenches it behind his back, and C-clamps his forearm and elbow. And there was no evidence that he posed a danger to anyone's safety, as he was simply involved in a verbal altercation, and at no point made any physical threats or moved his body in a threatening way. Detective Rivera never informed Mr. Garces that he was being detained or arrested, and never requested that he put his hands behind his back or otherwise comply with other commands. So it would be unfair to characterize him pulling away from Detective Rivera and telling him not to touch him as an attempt to resist an arrest.
All right. Piece of shit. Let's go. Let's go to the next part.
Take it down a notch.
You can take
Take
it
it down a notch.
Somebody.
Now look. That's the prick right there. You see him? Big fat fuck. Oh, shit. Let's go.
Here's not controlling themselves
down.
to you.
Take a deep breath.
Don't be a hypocrite.
I've taken a deep breath. It's your turn.
Yeah, don't be a
You want
hypocrite.
to talk like adults? I'll let you go. You want to talk
Did
like
you
adults?
start talking to me like an adult?
Do you understand how I need
Do
to
you
do
see
my
what
job?
you're doing wrong?
If you know how to do this job and you have a badge, then you would understand. Now, do you want to
It's
go
so
for 148 if you have a badge?
It's so
Do you have a badge?
Yes,
Are you
I do.
retired?
Yes.
Do you want to go for 148 for being in a crime scene? Just because sergeants children know how to do their job, when you were a
You're
cop,
saying your sergeant doesn't know how to do his job?
Take it. Turn around. Where's your badge at?
In my Jeep, like I keep saying, but you won't listen.
We're adding your Jeep.
Hey, you go see it when you
Do
look
you
at the
want
front
your
of the
car?
Jeep.
Do you want me to have to write a search warrant to keep it, or do you want to keep your car? Do you want to get home as soon as possible?
I'm not
You
talking.
hear this nigga? Yeah, fuck him.
Sink him in this car right here. What's your first name? Joe.
Hey, check that out. I stopped to help somebody who's been shot. I'm getting arrested.
Have a seat for a second.
Just so you know, I'm retired because of PTSD.
Got it.
Major anxiety problems.
Got it.
Being in handcuffs doesn't help me. I know you guys got to do it. Keep away from me.
Got it.
He is accelerating this way more than I
I
am.
won't let him talk to you anymore. You want the windows down or anything?
Can we just sit right here with me, the door open? I ain't going anywhere, dude. You guys all know
We'll
where
sit
I
right here
am.
for now.
I mean, I know what you guys do. I mean, I did it with you for 27 years in Oxnard, not Santa Paula.
Right.
To have that happen, that's as unprofessional as anything I did, and a cop shouldn't lose it like that. You and I both know that.
He's right. It's absolutely true. A cop should not lose his cool. He's a piece of shit for losing his cool. Fuck you, Chris Rivera. Detective Chris Rivera, fuck you. You heard? Fuck you very much. Die slow, you piece of shit.
Do me a favor, just sit here for now.
No problem. Well, they know that. I already told the first couple guys here that there's a gun on the floor of the driver. Okay, dude, this is gonna freak me out. Come back quick.
I'll roll down the windows.
I can't stand this.
Okay. And what was your last name, sir?
Garces.
Garces.
G-A-R-C-E-S.
Okay.
Joe
You're
Garces.
detained right now. Okay. You're not under arrest. All right, man.
Good, I tell you.
Cool.
The officer informs Mr. Garces that he is being detained and is not under arrest, despite the fact that he has been placed in handcuffs in the backseat of a police vehicle. Here, it does not seem that the officers conducted any further investigation of Mr. Garces once he was detained, and he would have a valid argument that placing him in a police vehicle in handcuffs constituted an arrest because he was not a physical threat or a flight risk.
Absolutely. Okay, can we get some decontamination for a guy in the back of the car here? He was doing CPR, got blood on him. I got the fire captain coming over here with decontamination. I don't know, I've been standing over here. This the one that needs decontaminated. Cap, he has blood on him. Yeah, he's actually a witness, but he was doing CPR when we came up.
Ain't that a bitch?
I don't know. Probably on his hands.
Ain't that a bitch? Ain't it? He gets arrested for helping.
The officers held Mr. Garces in the back of the patrol car for about 15 minutes, after which Detective Rivera uncuffed Mr. Garces and told him he was free to leave. Sometime later, Mr. Garces requested emergency medical services, and a police officer called an ambulance for him. Mr. Garces was treated at Community Memorial Hospital in Ventura, California, and reportedly suffered a dislocated shoulder and torn labrum that had to be surgically repaired. No charges were filed against Mr. Garces. Mr. Salgado survived the shooting, and a suspect was apprehended and charged with attempted murder a few days later.
So, fucking cops. Let's continue.
Mr. Garces filed a federal lawsuit against Detective Rivera and the city of Santa Paula, alleging civil rights violations, including a federal claim for excessive force and several state law claims. The U.S. District Judge Fernando Anaya Rocha ruled that Detective Rivera had qualified immunity. And
I'm even going to try to say the judge's name. Fuck it.
Therefore, could not be held personally liable for the federal excessive force claim because the use of a C-clamp hold had not been clearly established as a violation of the Fourth Amendment, and the state law claims remain viable against both Detective Rivera and the city.
So, nothing happened to the prick. Let's check the last
Detective Rivera, maintaining an unprofessional and disrespectful demeanor throughout the encounter, unnecessarily employing physical force against Mr. Garces instead of exploring alternative solutions, and potentially arresting Mr. Garces without probable cause. From the moment he arrived on the scene, Detective Rivera expressed unfounded hostility towards Mr. Garces, who, at that time, was simply providing a witness statement to another officer after working to save the life of a shooting victim. There was no need to speak about and to Mr. Garces in such an insolent tone. Although Mr. Garces responded to Detective Rivera's hostility with inflammatory speech, Detective Rivera also escalated the situation on several occasions and ultimately resorted to a use of force that dislocated Mr. Garces' shoulder. These escalations appeared to be motivated by anger over Mr. Garces' speech rather than legitimate investigatory or safety concerns.
Just so you get it, right? He's a piece of shit, right? Just a regular piece of shit cop like they have them all around the country now. I can't, again, here in Jersey, we don't really have that problem, right? We don't fuck with police like that, and police don't fuck with us. If we get pulled over, they do their job. They do it professionally, at least in my experience and some other people's experience. I don't know cops to get all belligerent. Not here in Jersey, not here in Newark, because they know they liable to get fucked up. Somebody will pop here. But again, we don't really have to deal with that. Jersey cops, for the most part, are professional and they do their job properly. Except the bitch cops. They get out aggressive. And young white boys, when they in the hood, they come out all, because they think they hot shit. They the fucking devil is what I call them. The worst cops in New Jersey are the bitch cops. Most of them. Shout outs to law enforcement in the state of New Jersey. Local county, and state. Now, I'm going to show you another incident that took place where the cop lost his motherfucking cool. And he shouldn't have, but he did. And it was a female. Now, this is an abuse of power. Watch how this fucker does this young girl.
So, I'm the supervisor of the shift. Would you like to talk to me about what happened? Okay, so do you understand?
Hold up.
Each of these...
Hold up.
So, I'm the supervisor of the shift. Would you like to talk to me about what happened? Okay, so do you understand each of...
All right, so I fucked that up, which I always tend to do.
I would like
Let's
to
get to
wait.
it.
Can you please exit the vehicle?
Okay, I would like
Can
to
you
wait.
please exit the vehicle?
All right, this is the first
so-
part.
Ready?
No, sir, please. I need a supervisor on this.
Now, look, bust the window.
So the reason why I stopped, you made that right turn from Pearl to Bagley. You made it at the red light, and I'm not sure if you realized, but you almost struck me.
I apologize. No, I did not.
Okay. You got driver's license on you?
I actually don't have anything on. I was going up to work. I didn't bring anything with me
Okay.
today.
No big deal. Then just take down your info. Yeah, you're supposed to treat it. Well, that right there, you can't even make a right turn at this time at the red
I
light.
started working at this office, so I'm not really used to this area right now. I'm so sorry.
So where are you heading right now?
I'm going back home. I live out there, so I'm heading back home.
Where's your job at?
It's not right there. So, it's in...
Is there anything illegal inside this vehicle? Who smokes weed in here?
It's just my car. It's just my car.
So nothing illegal? Can I look inside?
Again, I apologize. I was just heading home.
All right, this is where it went to shit. He asked to look inside her car, and she didn't give him consent, and he lost his cool. Check him out. He's going to keep a tone, a nice tone, but as soon as she didn't let him look, this is where he lost his cool.
I really didn't know that I can't turn right there. I'm 100% aware of it now.
So the reason why I'm asking is because I do smell weed.
I apologize.
And
I really didn't mean to. Like, I had no idea. I'll be super aware of that intersection from now on. I'll be way more cautious.
give me a favor because we're going to cause traffic back up here. Can you just pull into that street right here? I'll just make a right. Sure. All right. I appreciate that. It's just safety-wise, traffic safety-wise. Excuse me. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm asking is because I do smell weed. Obviously, I'm not. If there is some in here, you're not gonna get cited or anything for it.
If it's like a roach or something, like there might be something bad, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I got you. Yeah, it's like we don't cite no more for those. My only concern is if there's anything else other than that. That's why I'm asking you.
Right. He's fishing. Piece of shit. Another piece of shit cop. Don't fall for that bullshit. When they ask to check your car, do not consent. Invoke your Fourth Amendment right against illegal search and seizure. You heard?
Is it okay if I take a look?
This is what I've got. This is obviously what I
but that's not what I'm asking.
I prefer not to, like, because
So based on that, I could, just so you know.
Okay, I prefer if you didn't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you,
Based on that, he can, right? Because all you got to do is not just invoke your Fourth Amendment right. Don't give him consent. Fuck him. And it's going to go left, but what you going to do? You going to fold because it's going to go left? Invoke your rights. Stand your ground. Throw some balls. Or, in her case, she did right, in my opinion. It's just, she bumped into an asshole cop.
on that.
I understand. I'd prefer if you didn't. Like, again, I'm super sorry. It was seriously, it was just an accident. Like, I really didn't mean to.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I get it. I get you trying to get home.
Really bad day, like as it was. I was supposed to go to the office. People weren't there. I'm trying to get home. I really didn't know that it was such a thing that I could.
All right. Here, come on. Step out.
Please come.
It would serve her better just to shut the fuck up, but, She doesn't know.
I have not written you anything. I'm just trying to be.
I also know my rights, and I don't think I have to.
There it is.
You do. So don't make it hard.
I really.
There it is.
I just want to go home.
There it is. I know my rights. Don't say that. That pisses cop off. You know your rights, invoke them. All you got to tell that cop is, I invoke my 4th Amendment right against illegal search and seizure. Now, what that means is that he can't go in your trunk, he can't go in your glove box, and he can't go in your armrest, anything that's out of sight. But he has, you have a limited expectancy of privacy in your vehicle. So anything he can see, he can check. Now, you can still invoke your 4th Amendment right against illegal search and seizure, but because she showed him the roach, now he can check. Just stupid. Just invoke your rights from the beginning.
I'm asking you to step out nicely. I'm asking you to step out nicely.
Can you get your name and badge number?
It's Officer Nasher, 732. Come on out. Hi there, miss.
Hi, one moment,
Hi there.
please.
Okay. Hi there, miss.
Hi, hold on.
Can you talk to me now, please?
One moment, please, sir.
Well, okay.
I got pulled over to the office. I just about an officer. I smoked marijuana. I accidentally took off your companion there.
Okay. Okay.
Kind of new to the area, just not reaching the area.
Okay.
I was aware of the traffic laws there.
Okay.
Pulled me over, declared that my car smoked marijuana.
Yeah.
Asked to search it.
He don't give a shit.
Asked me to pull over you.
Okay. So now what?
I'm not comfortable with you searching that vehicle. My dad's not far. I'm asking him to come here and help out as well.
Okay. Well, I can smell the marijuana too as I'm up here, and so.
Not a crime.
It is. So if an officer tells you have to step out of the vehicle, you have to step out of the vehicle. That's a lawful order. Okay? So
That's not true.
I'm being very nice and patient. Oh,
Yo, that's true shit. So what you do is you nip that shit in the bud as soon as they pull up. You ask them, are you being detained? Those 4 words. Am I being detained? You know what? I'm going to show you a lawyer. He's going to explain all that to you. But from my experience, right? Just from the moment they pull up, ask them how you can help them. Say, what is your emergency and how may I be of assistance? And as soon as they ask for your paperwork, give it to them and invoke your 4th Amendment right against illegal search and seizure and your 5th Amendment right to not answer questions or to remain silent without the presence of your attorney. That's it. Everything else, just run with it.
if you comply with me, I'll give you whatever you want. But right now,
I'm not going to comply with anything that I don't know.
You're
You're
not.
an actual officer of the law until you give me your name and badge number, sir.
oh, are you a sovereign citizen?
Oh,
I
shit.
just know your name and badge number.
Patrolman Venus badge 722, okay? Okay, so you've been given a lawful order to exit the vehicle 3 times by me. Okay?
Yeah, you have.
This is the first time that you've actually asked me.
Okay.
So,
Can you please exit the vehicle?
I would like to wait.
Can you please exit the vehicle?
I would like to wait.
Can you please exit the vehicle?
Yeah, I would like
Can
to
you
wait.
please exit the vehicle?
I'm not-
7
Okay, so
times.
you have to exit the vehicle. And if your father comes here and interferes with the traffic stop, things could get a lot worse. Right now, if it's just marijuana, I'll be honest with you, we do not cite for marijuana. However, it is probable cause for a search, and we will need to seize that because you cannot have that legally.
Okay, I would like to wait.
Do you understand that?
Okay, I would still like to wait.
Okay. Can you please step out of the vehicle?
I would still like to wait.
And ask for a supervisor right
If
away.
you continue this, you're going to be arrested for obstruction. Okay?
And that would be an unlawful arrest, and you can deal with that in court.
Good luck with that in court.
Okay.
Okay? So you've been given a lawful command.
Yeah,
I
you
did it
have.
7 times in a row. Okay? Or 8. That was 8.
I also have my rights, and I'm allowed to wait.
Okay. Yeah, great, fantastic.
And
Are there any firearms in the vehicle? Okay. Yeah, so listen, I'm going to tell you, if you do not comply, if you do not get out within the next 30 seconds, I'm breaking this window and you're being drug out. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? If you do not comply, I've given a lawful order for you to exit the vehicle 10 times. If you do not comply within 30 seconds, I will break the windshield and drag you out of the car. Do you understand that? I don't think I can make that any more clear to you. You must exit the vehicle. Okay? You can post this, you can think you're cool, posting it on the internet. You are wrong. You are wrong. Okay? So you must exit the vehicle.
the court, sir.
You can peacefully exit the vehicle.
And
Well,
I feel
this is all on you,
and
okay?
I'm thoroughly scared.
Well,
at this
for
point.
refusing to exit the vehicle, you can please show up here. Okay, I'm gonna break the window if you do not exit the vehicle.
Officer, I need a supervisor here before you take those kind of extreme measures.
Ready?
There's no, sir, please. I need a supervisor on the Officer, I need a supervisor on the scene. I need a supervisor on the scene.
Yeah, we got one.
I need a supervisor on the scene.
Hands behind your back right now. Hands behind your back right now. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Let me get this out your hands.
She's not even fucking resisting.
Okay, I'm gonna put her on top of the.
All right. That went left real fast. Let's go
So
to the next.
I'm the supervisor of the shift. Would you like to talk to me about what happened? Okay.
There's your supervisor.
So do you understand each of these rights that I have explained to you?
Yes.
Okay. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to me now? And especially as the last one said, if you don't want to answer a question I ask, you just don't have to answer that. Okay? So can you explain to me what happened and what led to the situation that is here now?
Who's this officer who just walked by? Gentleman in the ball cap there?
Yeah.
He's the one who initially pulled me over. I apparently accidentally cut him off.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that intersection, was unaware that it was, it's actually my father right there.
Okay.
I was unaware that I couldn't turn right there. I just started recently working with him, his office.
Okay.
He's a private investigator, been in criminal justice for over 30 years, and so I was actually out there doing some work. I had to head home, didn't realize I'd made a mistake. The officer and
that title, "The Little Girl's Call That Changed Everything," that's not a little girl, that's a grown woman. You know, not that you can't tell that, but wanted to make sure you got that.
ball cap, or he's got the officer in the ball cap, is the one who's pulled me over initially. I didn't realize I'd made a mistake. He declared my car smelled like marijuana. I was like, okay, definitely pull over here. I did. Called the backup. The second gentleman there ordered me out of the car. I was confused as to why. Demanded that I get out of the car. I told him I felt scared and unsafe, and he proceeded to bust my window out.
Okay.
And now I'm handcuffed in the back of a cop car.
Okay.
Very unaware of exactly what I've done wrong, besides accidentally turning red on a red light on accident.
Okay.
So, I'm very scared.
Okay.
And I'm very uncomfortable.
All right.
I'm very upset about my car. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to turn red. I'm sorry. I would have gladly taken a ticket for smelling like marijuana. Like, I didn't know I did anything wrong. So I'm very shaken right now. I didn't know I did something. And I just wanted to go home.
All right.
I want to go see my kids. I want to go see my husband. I don't want to be here right now.
So, in several things. In the state of Ohio, a traffic stop is a detainment. It's a traffic law is a law. So when you're pulled over for the police officer, you have to abide by what the police officer is asking you to do. Okay.
Grounds. There are stipulations and things like that. I'm educated enough to know.
If an officer,
enough of my rights.
even without the smell of marijuana, if you pull over and an officer asks you to step out of your car,
it's not true.
An officer that pulls you over has the legal right, if they believe that you're making any furtive movements or anything, to search the driver's side area of the car. That would mean removing you from the vehicle to do that. Okay?
But you have to have plausible.
In this particular case, marijuana is still legal or still illegal in the state of Ohio. It is not legal. So if an officer smells marijuana in your car and then they ask you to step out because they need to search your vehicle, it's a probable cause search based on the smell of marijuana.
The smell of marijuana is not a probable articulate cause.
It is.
Okay.
Okay? See, that's where you're mistaken. And the place on the side of the road is not the place to argue that. That would be in the court of law.
That would be in the court of law.
Okay.
I didn't mean to make a mistake. I accidentally cut somebody off, and now I'm in handcuffs.
No, you're not in handcuffs for cutting him off. You're in handcuffs because of this attitude right now that you're working up to, and that is believing. Okay.
I'm genuinely scared. An officer approached my car and blew my window out without warning.
No, he did.
I was just trying to go home.
He gave you
numerous
warnings.
I wanted a moment to think, and he couldn't give me that.
He gave you Why wouldn't you?
He gave you enough time. Learn your rights, people. Learn how to deal with these people. And there's a way. She could have avoided all of that, but
just listen to the officer.
Because I wanted a couple of minutes to figure out what was happening.
He explained to you.
I have my rights too.
No, you have.
No, I have my my rights too.
You have rights, but you have to listen to the officer when they're explaining this process to you.
That's not
just
how
like
it works.
right now.
When I say jump, you say how high. Like, I'm allowed to have my rights and figure out what's happening before I have to be detained.
So you can continue to just ignore what they're saying.
No, I'm not
because you don't want to abide by what they're saying.
I would have happily complied.
How many times? How long would he have had to keep asking you to open the door?
2 more minutes. To let
Why
me
2 minutes?
Rest myself.
Why not 20
Why
seconds?
do you need 10 seconds? Why? Why you? I didn't do anything. I'm sorry that I accidentally cut your officer off. That was my mistake.
Okay, we're beyond that.
I know, you busted my window out.
Okay, well then we're trying to explain to you why that happened. And you don't want to see the reason for that happening.
Then I apologize.
Okay. So that's the reason that we're at where we're at now. Okay, I'm just trying to explain that to you so that you understand. But you keep getting very emotional and worked up, and hopefully you are starting to understand why I'm saying why we're at where we're at now. Okay? Okay, sit tight.
All right. So be clear that, yeah, you have rights. There's absolutely no doubt about that shit. You have rights. And part of those rights is invoking them, knowing them. You got to invoke them, right? Because just knowing your rights or staying silent ain't going to work. So I learned how to do it, right? A lot of people know how to do it. I learned how to do it. You don't give them reason to get all belligerent with you. And like I said, we don't experience much of that here. And those who do, I'm sorry. Like, learn how to deal with police. They people too. They just want to get home too. So at the end of it, learn how to deal with police, right? As soon as you see the lights and they pull, that you know that they pulling you over, hit your hazards. Pull over to the side of the road as best you can. Turn on your interior light. Roll down your window halfway. The interior light is on so they can see in the car and they don't got no bullshit, right? As soon as they pull up to your window, you ask them, what is your emergency and how may I be of assistance? They're not going to answer that. They're just going to ask for your license, registration, and insurance. You can be a dick if you want and say, okay, what's your reasonable, articulable, individualized suspicion that I've committed a crime? And why are you pulling me over? At which point he got to tell you. If he doesn't tell you, hand him your paperwork and say, am I being detained or am I free to go? That starts the clock. The lawyer I'm about to play, he's going to explain all that. As soon as you hand him your paperwork, you ask him, are you being detained? Right after that, you invoke your Fourth Amendment right against illegal search and seizure. That doesn't mean he can't search your car if he finds probable cause. What that means is that he needs a warrant to go into your trunk. He needs a warrant to go into your glove box. He needs a warrant to go into your armrest. He needs a warrant to go into any bags or purses or anything you have in the car. He can't just check none of that shit because you've invoked your Fourth Amendment right against illegal search and seizure, right? Because your car is protected under a limited expectancy of privacy. He can search the vehicle, except that which is protected under the Fourth Amendment. After you've done that, invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. And like a lawyer told me, and a couple of lawyers tell their clients, shut the fuck up after that. Don't say nothing else. Because if he asks you any more questions, he's playing around. He's fucking around under the color of law, trying to violate your rights, in which case you could sue him. And when you go after a cop, go after their peace officer certificate and sue them for their bond. You understand? That's where the money is. Now, with all that said, I'm going to pull up this lawyer because he's the fucking man. Check him out.
If you use these 4 words during a traffic stop,
Hold on.
will force a cop to either let you go or he'll have to justify why he's holding you. I'm Jeff Hampton, and in this video, I'm going to show you what to say, when to say it, and how this new Supreme Court ruling makes it more powerful than ever to use these 4 words to end a traffic stop. A new unanimous Supreme Court decision has now shifted the balance of power during a traffic stop. In the U.S. Supreme Court case of Barnes versus Felix, the court changed the rules about how
Barnes versus Felix. Take notes, people. Take notes. Put all this shit down.
we can evaluate police officers' behavior during not only a traffic stop, but any encounter with a cop. Under the new Barnes ruling, everything the police do, from the moment they light you up till the moment they detain you or even try to use force against you, can be evaluated and used to determine if that police officer acted reasonable. This shift makes the 4 words I'm about to share with you here in just a moment even more powerful for motorists who want to protect their rights during a traffic stop. So let me break down why this Barnes decision is so important and how it changes things for us. Number one, I want you to realize the court now says the officer's entire conduct from the moment they try to pull you over until the end of the encounter, their behavior, their justifications, their actions, everything they say and do can now be scrutinized to determine if the officer acted reasonable. In fact, the Barnes case all started from a minor traffic stop based upon unpaid tolls, but yet the case turned deadly. A constable by the name of Deputy Felix stopped Barnes claiming he had unpaid tolls. Now, of course, he was driving a rental car, which is another issue altogether, but during this period of time, Barnes was fumbling to try to find his license. Deputy Felix then started feeling suspicious because this man couldn't locate his license, so he ordered Barnes to get out of the car, and Barnes tried to take off. But then Deputy Felix, he did something kind of strange. He actually jumped onto the moving car.
Stupid ass. But he jumped onto that moving car to shoot him. There's no other reason to do that. So fuck you, Deputy Felix.
And in the process of jumping onto the moving car, he fired 2 shots into the windshield, which ended the life of Mr. Barnes. Of course, Barnes's family sued, claiming that in this situation, the police officer was using excessive force. And even though the 2 lower appellate courts ruled in favor of the police using an old standard, a unanimous decision written by Justice Kagan changed the rules for everyone during a traffic stop. The Supreme Court changed the standard with Barnes when Justice Kagan wrote a unanimous 9-0 decision here, where she looked back and said, in the past, those lower court decisions were relying upon what's known as a moment of threat analysis, which means they used to not look at the full context of what a police officer did during an encounter. They only looked at the moment where things went south and determine if the police officer did right. But now they've changed the rules. They now say that you've got to look at the entire event, everything that took place, to determine if the cop acted reasonable. I'm going to read to you some of the quotes that Justice Kagan said. She said, a court must, quote, consider all the relevant circumstances, including facts and events leading up to the climactic moment. In other words, context is king. Justice Kagan then went on to say, a court deciding a use of force case cannot review the totality of the circumstances if it has to put on chronological blinders. So what does this mean for you as a driver during a traffic stop? It means police can no longer get away with ignoring their own actions leading up to a traffic stop or their poor decisions leading up to the moment of encounter. Every decision now counts when a police officer pulls you over. Think about some of the things that they have to do that we can now evaluate that didn't exist prior to Barnes. For example, number one, the basis for the stop, the officer's tone and commands to you during the stop, whether they prolonged the stop, how they reacted when you asserted your legal rights. All of these now count in determining whether the officer acted legal and reasonable in his behavior.
Now, you heard that, right? Whether or not he changed his demeanor when you invoked your rights will be a determining factor on whether that fuckbag of a cop, tyrant piece of shit, if he behaves that way. Again, shout outs to law enforcement that know how to do their job. But if he behaves that way, the new standards on Barnes, takes all that into account. So I think I forgot to mention that you got to start recording as soon as you see them lights, right? Get you the mounts that allow you to face your camera towards you in the window to record everything and let the cop know he's being recorded. But yeah, there's a lot of shit that's involved now.
This is a huge win for accountability, and it helped close a loophole where officers used to use bad tactics and bad behavior to do what I actually would think of as baiting a driver into responding a certain way so that it looked justifiable in the heat of the moment. The ruling in Barnes makes it crystal clear from the Supreme Court The actions of a police officer during a traffic stop cannot be viewed with tunnel vision without considering everything else that took place. Now, to be clear, there is a separate total legal analysis when it comes to use of force that I'm covering on a different video. But I want to tie together this new Barnes decision to your traffic stop rights so that we know the 4 words you need to use to completely protect yourself and stop the police. So in order to tie Barnes into your traffic stop rights, let's look at 2 of the most important cases involving traffic stops so that we can take these 2 cases, tie it to Barnes, and give you protection. The case of Delaware versus Prowse. In this Supreme Court case, it was ruled that police are not supposed to and are not legally allowed to pull you over to fish for violations. This only makes sense.
All right. It does only make sense. Let's go to part 2.
But if police are going to pull you over, they need a legal reason to do so, like a traffic violation.
Let's bring that back.
But if police are going to
the fuck? All right, here we go.
But if police are going to pull you over, they need a legal reason to do so, like a traffic violation or some reasonable suspicion to believe you are involved in a crime. Otherwise, it's nothing more than a hunch and it's illegal. Our next case is Rodriguez versus United States. And in this very, very important U.S. Supreme Court case, it changed traffic stop law forever.
Take notes. I can't stress that enough. Take notes or go back to the video, but take notes.
Basically said that when police officers pull you over to write you a ticket for a traffic violation, they cannot prolong the traffic stop beyond its original mission, i.e. writing you the ticket, unless they have separate reasonable suspicion that you've committed some other type of crime. In short, Rodriguez said, cops can't just pull you over claiming to give you a traffic ticket, only to hold you to see if you slip up and arrest you for something else. So, what are the 4 words, the 4 magical words, that when you combine them with this new Barnes decision can help you end a traffic stop? Here they are. Am I being detained? By using these 4 specific words, you are forcing the officer to confront the principles that were just laid out by Barnes. In fact, when you say, am I being detained, you're really saying, officer, do you have any lawful reason here to be holding me, or am I free to go? Because here's what's key. When you use these 4 words, cops know that if they don't have a solid reason to hold you, per Prowse, the case we just cited, they should let you go. And if they do have a legal reason, your 4 words just reminded them that the clock is ticking. They cannot hold you any longer than the original reason for the stop based upon Rodriguez. And now with the Barnes decision that just came out, cops also know any attempt to drag this out or go on a power trip with you is all going to be evaluated in court to determine whether the officer was being reasonable. In other words, these 4 words, am I being detained, puts the cops on notice that I know my rights and I'm going to hold you to the rules. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are saying, come on, Jeff, I've heard and I've watched your videos before. I've heard you say, am I being detained? Those are simple words. Why does it make it so powerful here? They might sound simple, but after Barnes, they're like legal bulletproof vests for you during a traffic stop. In fact, let's break down the power of each of these 4 words. Let's start with am. This is a present tense verb, which means you are asking about what is happening right now. This is crucial. By using the word am, you are inquiring to that police officer if you're being detained right now, not in the past, not in the future, but presently right now. You are demanding an instant status check on your freedom in that moment. You're putting the officer on the spot to give you a response about your freedom right then and there. It's important to put that officer on the spot to justify that current situation. Because courts during traffic stops have really focused on your rights in the moment of the actual altercation. For instance, in the Supreme Court case of Berkmer versus McCarty, the Supreme Court said, and I quote, that a traffic stop curtails a person's freedom in the moment, even if briefly. So the question of detention is inherently a present tense issue. We just covered am, so our next word is I, and this is personal. By saying I, You're making it very clear, eliminating any ambiguity about who you're asking is being detained. We're not talking about passengers in the car. We're not talking about anybody else on the scene. You're talking about you and only you. This is really important because police encounters can sometimes involve multiple people, whether it's in a car or cops walking up to you. And you got to watch out because cops like to play word games. For example, I've heard cops say things like, no, we're not detaining anyone, or everyone just hang tight. They like to speak to everyone as a group and not specifically talk to an individual person sometimes. Using the word I pins it down. Are you, officer, detaining me? It's an assertion of your individual rights. This ties back to other Supreme Court cases where the Supreme Court has said, like cases like Florida versus Bostic, where they made a determination that the test for a detention is whether a reasonable person in that individual's position would feel free to leave. By spotlighting yourself, you're making it crystal clear that you're demanding whether that officer has the authority to hold you and no one else. This brings us to our next word, word number 3, am I being? This word zeroes in on
Yeah, let's get right to it. Because this word zeroes in
the ongoing action or maybe inaction of the cop. Being detained dodges the question from the police officer of trying to talk about the past or in the future, and it puts everything in the moment. This is really important because police officers are trained to try to deflect against you. They'll say things like, well, you could be detained if you don't cooperate. When cops say things like that, it's hypothetical and it's only looking into the future. By asking, am I being detained, it makes it crystal clear you're speaking about the present, not about something in the future. And it helps establish the legal standard in reference to an actual seizure under the Fourth Amendment. In the United States versus Mendenhall, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a seizure occurs if a, quote, reasonable person would believe they are not free to leave at the moment. By asking if you're being detained, you are invoking the Mendenhall standard. And finally, our fourth word, detained. This is the clincher. The word detained is a legal term under the Fourth Amendment. It refers to a temporary seizure of a person, less than an arrest, but more than a consensual encounter. By using the word detained, you are showing the officer you know that this is a Fourth Amendment situation. You're basically asking, officer, are you officially invoking your authority to limit my freedom right now? Or are you trying to pull a voluntary encounter on me? If the officer says, no, you're not detained, then you are free to leave, and I would leave immediately. Don't meddle around with the cops. But if the officer says, yes, you are detained, they now must believe they have legal cause. Reasonable suspicion of a crime, per Terry versus Ohio, they must believe they have reasonable suspicion to hold you. And by the way, if a cop thinks he has good legal reason, a good cop should have no problem sharing what that so-called legal reason would be. If an officer cannot articulate a legal, lawful basis to hold you, then they shouldn't be detaining you. And an officer will realize that when they don't come up with a good reason. Essentially, the word detained is like a mental trigger for the cop. It forces him to internally, realizing he's on camera, to internally decide, do I have the legal reason and ability to actually hold this person? So in one polite, four-word question, you've accomplished a lot. Number one, you're forcing the officer in the moment to justify what he's doing and make a decision one way or the other to let you go or to detain you. But you're also clearly making a record that you know your rights and you're asserting your rights for protection. Headlines are shouting at you from every direction. Bias, censorship, outrage. It's overwhelming. So how do you cut through the noise and find out what's really going on? That's where ground news makes a difference. Ground news gives you the freedom to discover for yourself whether what you are reading is unbiased and fair so that you can come to your own conclusions. Isn't that what the news is supposed to be about? Check them out for yourself at groundnews.com/Hampton. Let's take the recent news story that John Cornyn revealed the FBI has agreed to both locate and arrest Texas Democrats who left the state this month to block voting on redistricting legislation. As we analyze the coverage in Ground News, the top right displays key details, the number of sources reporting, their political bias breakdown.
So I'm going to take this time here to say that this is for educational purposes only, and I'm using all of these videos under fair use for educational purposes only and for commentary. So, you know, believe that, know that. That's what it is. It's for educational purposes and for entertainment purposes, but for educational purposes. I'm not giving you legal advice. That nigga's a lawyer. He's giving you legal advice. He's telling you what to do. I'm just showing you how cops have used their power, and I'm presenting him so that you know how to fight.
because only one side.
But again, for educational purposes only and fair use. You heard? All right.
And see things differently.
Let's get back to this ad.
Ground News has a special offer for my viewers. If you sign up through my link, you'll get an amazing 40% off the Vantage plan, the same plan I use to get unlimited access to all features. Go to ground.news/Hampton to give it a try for yourself. Click the link down in the description or scan the QR code to stay better informed and transform how you read the news.
All right. Let's go to the last part.
Detective Rivera maintaining an unprofessional and disrespectful
Sorry. Here we go.
But how does saying, "Am I being detained?" after the Barnes decision become easy?
Let's go back. Because, you know, it's important.
But how does saying, "Am I being detained?" after the Barnes decision become even more potent now when you're defending yourself from the police? Well, number one, remember the officer must now justify the stop or let you go. Remember, the moment you say, "Am I being detained?" it makes it much more difficult for the police to go on some fishing expedition or to try to wait around and stall you to go get a drug dog. It's very common for police officers to string you along with chit-chat or vague instructions that might make you a little bit confused, that now might make you incriminate yourself, or maybe the officer can use your expressions or responses as a way to claim you're acting suspicious so that they can search your car. But after the Barnes case, and now you using the words, "Am I being detained?" it becomes a dangerous game for the police to prolong your traffic stop. Prolonging the stop without a solid legal reason now puts the police officer in peril, because when he's questioned about it on the witness stand and he couldn't give a good answer for it, there's a better chance that any evidence collected could now be thrown out in court. Remember, Delaware versus Prowse taught us that random or unjustified stops are illegal by the police. And now the Barnes decision also says that if the cops get out of hand and they mistreat you and maybe they use force against you, that can be used. Their pre-force activity, their pre-force behavior of basically using fishing expeditions and violating your rights can be used against that police officer in a possible civil rights action as well as possible criminal action against the officer. Situation number two is that during a traffic stop, cops can no longer perform those fishing expeditions because time is now evidence you can use. One of the biggest lessons from Barnes is that time now matters during a traffic stop. The longer a stop drags on without justification, the worse it looks for the officer. The Supreme Court in Rodriguez versus U.S. made it crystal clear that police officers cannot extend a traffic stop beyond its original reason for like a traffic ticket just to fish for other crimes.
So that's important. Because what that means is once they pulled you over and you've established why they pulled you over, that's it. That's what it is. If they come up with other shit, they're violating your rights. Don't say anything to the degree where you know something. Just know that. Know it in your being and fight it in court. Don't argue the law with a cop. He don't know the fucking law. He's not enforcing the law, he's enforcing policy. But let's get with this.
But Barnes now flashes a spotlight on that rule. When an officer tries to stall a traffic violation for no good reason, K-9 unit, checking on something real quick, it actually leads to a Fourth Amendment violation. The problem is, how do we know if that time frame is prolonged to the point where it's illegal?
And here is how you know.
That's where using those magic words of "am I being detained" starts the clock timer. You're not only signaling to the cop that you know the law and that you won't be jerked around during a traffic stop, but you're also making it clear this is not a consensual encounter and the time for being illegally detained is now clicking. And the longer this time clock begins to extend, the more likely it will be ruled unconstitutional. And finally, if you record everything during the traffic stop, it will be clear and uncontestable evidence if it needs to go to court, particularly if the officer uses force against you. This is so important, why I advocate using your own dash cam. Make sure you use your cell phone camera if you can, and don't always rely on the officer using his own body camera. Because think about this. What if you do everything right that we're covering on this video, but the cop all of a sudden decides he's going to escalate the situation unreasonably? He's going to ignore your questions. He's going to be tense. He's going to make unlawful demands, and maybe he's going to ignore your all unlawful questions. By you now following all the rules we've talked about here and recording all this behavior, if the cop now tries to use force against you, you now have all the law in your favor, and it now makes it 10 times more likely the officer's actions will be ruled to be unreasonable, and qualified immunity could be potentially stripped away, and you would have a cause of action. So finally, we've covered the law. We've talked about how it applies, but what happens when the heat turns up and now the officer's being aggressive with you? The first thing you want to do, if an officer comes up to your front window and you're following the law, you're doing everything you can, you're even being polite to the officer, and he starts being aggressive with you, the first thing you can do is remember, hand the officer your license, your registration, and your insurance as required by your state law, and you don't have any other responsibility to do anything else. If the officer starts escalating the encounter, you can always invoke your right to remain silent. You can always invoke your right to counsel for any other questioning. But if the officer continues to hold you on the side of the road and he's sitting there and he goes back to his cruiser and you're continuing to wait, then he walks back up again, and this is a prolonged period of time, remember, it's at that moment you say, "Am I free to go? Am I being detained?" Our magic words, am I being detained? We use
after
those
they state
am
the
I
reason,
being
which is
detained
very important because the
specifically
reason
here.
itself,
If he says,
particularly if it's a
"You're not
traffic
being
violation,
detained," you say,
limits how
"Officer,
long
based
they're
upon
able
that
to continue to
information,
keep you on the
I'm
side of
now
the road.
going to leave the scene." You record every bit of this and you drive away. If, on the other hand, the officer says, "Yes, you are being detained," the next question out of your mouth is, "Officer, may I ask, on what specific legal grounds?" Here, you're recording everything and you're forcing the officer in the moment to state the legal reason for you being detained. In that moment, the cop might say, "Well, because you're speeding," or "because I smell marijuana," or "there's an alert on your license." Whatever it is, it's very important because now they've stated the legal basis for the actual detention.
Okay, that's important. Remember that.
After they state the reason, which is very important because the reason itself.
Yeah, clearly I still haven't gotten how to really do this, right?
After they state the reason, which is very important because the reason itself, particularly if it's a traffic violation, limits how long they're able to continue to keep you on the side of the road. I would much rather the officer articulate what that reason is than for him to come up with his own reason later on in a police report or under oath. So it's important that you ask that question. But if the officer gives you a specific reason, we now follow the next steps. You should then immediately invoke your core rights. What are those? Well, the first thing I would say is, "Officer, I refuse consent to any search of my person, my places, or my things." So any of those things, your person, your property, anything that you have there, your vehicle, anything that's there, you need to refuse consent to search. Then number two, I would then say, "I also exercise my right to remain silent, and I will not answer any further questions unless my attorney is present." After you have invoked those rights, I would zip my mouth and not say another word. Now,
Shut the fuck up. You heard? So as soon as you invoke that Fifth Amendment right, shut up. Don't say anything else, no matter what he says. Don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. As soon as you open your mouth after you've invoked your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, if you open your mouth after that, you've waived your right. So shut the fuck up after that.
the only example I can give to you to say that you should say something else is if the officer continues to hold you on the side of the road for a prolonged period of time. I've seen this happen with drug dog searches where a cop literally holds somebody on the side of the road 3, 4, 5 hours on the side of the road. And as they're sitting there waiting for a drug dog to show up, it's important, as you record the entire encounter, you can ask the officer again, am I being detained? That's all you say. And if the officer says, yes, you're being detained, you re-invoke all those same rights we just covered. If for some reason he says no, you drive away. By continuing to say, am I being detained, every 30 minutes to an hour or so, you are setting a very clear legal record that this officer is exceeding the scope of the constitutional rights, that he is now trampling on your constitutional rights by not releasing you because he's violating Rodriguez by keeping you on the side of the road. So before I finish this video, I know that some of you are going to say, come on, Jeff, these magic words aren't magic in every situation. And you're right. Let me give you a very few quick examples of where am I being detained will not work. Number one, DUI checkpoints and roadblocks. If you're stopped for a DUI checkpoint, here the rules are a little bit different. The Supreme Court has ruled that police officers during a DUI checkpoint don't need an actual separate reason to pull you over during a checkpoint. The checkpoint itself is the reason, and unfortunately, the Supreme Court has said this is legal. Using the words, am I being detained during a checkpoint, won't work. So here's what you do instead. Once you pull up to the checkpoint, as the officer starts to question you, hand him your license and your registration as required by state law. You can then exercise your right to remain silent, your right to refuse consent to search to your vehicle, and the right to an attorney for any other questioning. If the cop doesn't think he exhibits any visible signs of intoxication, there's a good chance he's going to wave you through. If he claims he thinks he has reasonable suspicion you have been drinking, now this converts into a regular detention. Situation number two, cops pull you over and they have reliable information that you are armed and dangerous. If cops have reliable evidence that you are armed and dangerous, the Supreme Court has given them more leeway to be able to detain you and potentially frisk you for weapons. Merely asking the officer, am I being detained, and then hoping you're going to be free to leave isn't going to stop an officer who has a description of a suspect involved in an armed robbery or something that meets your description. Or if the officer thought you were reaching for something that he believed placed him in fear of serious bodily injury or death by placing his officer's safety at risk because you were reaching for a weapon. And finally, watch out if you live in a stop and identify state. In some states, the law requires you to identify yourself when cops have lawfully pulled you over and detained you. These are often called stop and ID laws, and they first came about in the Supreme Court case of Hybel versus 6th Judicial District. If you live in one of these states, you must give your name, usually your ID, and in some states, your date of birth if questioned and asked for by the police. Failing to do so can actually be a crime in those jurisdictions. So, if you live in a state that's a stop and ID state, what exactly should you do? If you're detained and the officer demands you identify yourself, provide your name, your date of birth, and your ID as required by law, but then provide no other information. You can still exercise your constitutional rights, and it is important that you do so. Just choosing to be silent and quiet doesn't mean you've invoked your rights. It's important to say, officer, I have nothing else to say. I exercise my right to remain silent, and I do not consent to any searches, and I also exercise my right to an attorney to be present for any future questioning. Remember, using the magic words, am I being detained, can't be used to get you out of legitimate legal situations, legal requirements in your state, but it can be used to protect you from police officers using tricks, lies, and other techniques that are stomping on your constitutional rights and trying to trick you so that officers can arrest you or search you for something altogether different. So the ultimate point is please know the laws and the rights that you have in your specific state. And anytime you start being taken advantage of by the police, you can use these words, am I being detained, to protect yourself. And then you need to be in compliance with your other state laws. This new Supreme Court ruling with Barnes has sent a clear message that if cops try to play games with you and you assert your rights, the courts will now be forced to back you up based on this 9-0 decision. So remember, the next time you get pulled over and you start feeling like the cop's taking advantage of you, when you use those wonderful words, am I being detained, you're not just throwing out a catchphrase, you're actually wielding the power of the Constitution. The Supreme Court case of Barnes welded together decades of case law to reinforce a simple but powerful idea. If cops want to detain you or use force against you, the entire encounter must be measured. And if the officer doesn't play ball, but you follow the law, what he chose to do and how he treated you can now be used against him. Now, we just covered the 4 words you can use to stop a traffic stop dead in its tracks. But did you know there are tricks, legal tricks cops can use against you during a traffic stop? Check out this next video where I break down how to stop cops from using tricks against you during a traffic stop. See you over there.